Dear valued guests and friends, I was asked to introduce the Honourable Minister Nyhontso. Thank you for coming here and thank you for spending time with us. I don't know when you've been here before, or is it your first visit? Okay, so we're looking forward to learn from you and to become friends. But thank you for your time and the delegation to come to see us. Minister Nyhontso is a politician. He's the president of the PAC and a member of the National Assembly. He was sworn in as Minister of Land Reform and Rural Development on the 3rd of July 2024 in the Cabinet of the Government of National Unity. Now, this portfolio is a hot potato. It's a difficult job. And the challenge is vast. In South Africa, if you think about South Africa, and you're responsible for the whole of South Africa land reform with the different pockets of own character and own challenges. So, Minister, you need friends. You can't do it on your own. So, WPALS is a good friend. You can trust WPALS. The Minister matriculated in Butterworth. I wouldn't name the year because that makes me feel very old. But he's got a long path ahead of him. He's got some time on his side, and I wish you good luck for your career development as a politician, playing a part in the national government, setting the differences apart and focusing on the middle ground. Good luck with that. As a National Minister of Land Reform and Rural Development, he serves in the cabinet committees of economic sectors, investment, employment, and infrastructure. So I don't know how much time does that take up, but you need to get out as well. But thank you for the role that you play there. He also serves in the Cabinet Committee for Social Protection and Human Development. He's a seasoned political leader with experience in uniting diverse factors and a track record in leadership and crisis management. Thank you for that. Thank you for coming out here. Thank you for making time. And I hope you will get back to those important meetings and think about what's happening at ground level here and all the positive things that you've heard. So you missed out this morning on the mayor's talk, and the mayor said one important thing, and that is that we must acknowledge that we are not where we want to be with land reform. And we could have been in a better space. Let's recognize that and let's make land reform faster to make South Africa a better place. I want to introduce you to Mr. Nyhontso. We're looking forward to listen to you.
Thank you. Program Director, Mayor Trevor Abrahams, Chairperson Hendrik Janjis, WPALS members, officials of the department, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me, my big brother, Comrade Cunningham Ngogana. Sisuka kude nalamfebethethe isiXhosa apha. Thank you for inviting me to address you at your annual general meeting. The AGM is an important event in the life of any organization. My sincere apologies for joining you later than what I planned. I was addressing problems and seldom get to celebrate solutions. Being invited to address an organization that has the words land and solutions in its name and next to each other was thus an opportunity not to be missed. PALS have now entered its second decade of existence, and I echo the sentiment that as you are expanding, you need to maintain the strong values and purpose on which you conceived this organization. PALS must consider that agricultural practices and land reform issues are not uniform and adapting its strategies to the various parts of the country and will become essential for its success. The demographic of farming is another area to focus on. Here I want to particularly highlight playing a more active role in involving and actively recruiting youth and women to the sector. I encourage you to talk to my department about placing youth from the NARISEC program in your activities, but more so to engage our rural development branch in identifying modern farming practices, techniques, and technology for areas in which youth can be trained. In this Women's Month, I also want to highlight the importance of creating meaningful and sustainable jobs for women in a sector that is known for creating the most jobs. The direct link between a secure and stable income reducing the vulnerability of our young women exposed to gender-based violence. Farming without access to markets is what has killed the dreams of many new entrants into this space. There is a great concern that successful commercial farmers are blocking access to markets. If not, then they are acting as gatekeepers and demanding high percentages of yields for licenses to access certain lucrative markets. There are many blockages to the sector being transformed. These blockages are well known to you, access to markets being just one that I wish to highlight today. Meeting at the Ceres Golf Course today, I cannot ignore the fact that I read the open letter that was written by PALS to the golfer and else. Your letter, Gerrit van Vieren, addresses the proverbial elephant in the room. I also want to acknowledge you, Gerrit, your willingness to accommodate and listen to your detractors this morning by being ready to include them in your AGM is praiseworthy. This openness to engage is what we need more of in this country. It takes courage, and this must be acknowledged and appreciated. I would have liked that your letter got greater attention in the mainstream media than it did. The impending tariff from the United States of America will affect the agricultural sector in a big way, and had respectful and truthful dialogue been given the prominence that it deserves, we would not have been in this situation. The weekend that passed, many South Africans participated in the national dialogue. It is unfortunate that some organizations chose to withdraw from the dialogue, citing costs without giving dialogue a chance. The cost of a divided and dysfunctional society is far greater than the cost of the dialogue itself. Let me return to your letter, Gerrit. There is no white genocide in South Africa. We also know that crime affects everyone and not just Afrikaner farmers. We agree that because there are so many Afrikaner farmers, they would feature as a statistic on farm killings. What is interesting about statistics is that you can find in statistics what you are looking for. If the statistics on farm killings were looking for men between the ages of 45 and 65, it would be there. And like racial profiling, it only means something if you are looking to attach meaning and significance to it. I came from a political movement that believed that there is only one race, the human race. This belief is only the human race came about at a time when others believed in many races, and more sinister was that some advanced the belief of and promoted the existence of a superior white race. It is this white superiority complex that informed the apartheid government policies, allocated resources for its implementation, and was responsible for the disunity, inequality, poverty, and the loss of land of the indigenous people of this country. It is this superiority and inferiority complex that informs one of the reasons why we are meeting here today. I'm referring to the belief that only white people know how to farm. There is also the overarching belief that only white people know how to govern. Unless we confront these statements directly, we will not be able to make progress in the farming and land reform sector or in the country. We must acknowledge that defining our society in racial terms has advantaged the few at the expense of the many. The advantages gained was so great that we must not expect it to be reversed in 30 years. It requires hard work, and the organization is certainly playing its role and doing so admirable. The process of separating the African majority from the land and its governance started long before apartheid rule, which started in 1948. As some of you may know, I come from the rural areas where much of the economic activity revolves around farming and agriculture. I grew up with the family and family members and friends and neighbors who have always been involved in some or the other form of agricultural activity. I did not grow up with the view that African people do not know how to farm. I have only come to hear about this belief that Africans do not know how to farm when I started moving around the country in this task as a minister. I hear firsthand the frustration and anger of African farmers who are beneficiaries of land restitution and land redistribution programs. These farmers, many of whom lived and worked on farms for generations and were now given large tracts of land with no post-settlement support by my department. When I inquire from my officials, I hear about a cash grant given, a tractor here, a shed there, some agricultural inputs that land reform beneficiaries were given. A box was digged and the officials left the beneficiaries to fend for themselves. When they fail, then you hear the statement that blacks do not know how to farm. In attaching this label of failure, they are compared to successful neighboring farmers who are the 8th and 10th generation farmer from the same family. No one is born a successful farmer. No imaginary social construct such as race markets you as a successful farmer. The problem is within my department. We must give farmers support and we must give them money. Don't call it resources. We must give them money so that they work the land. Program director, farming is a professional endeavor. And like any profession, it takes years to master. And even then, ongoing training and support from others in the profession is critical. The ongoing support, mentoring, and training that your organization is offering show that, and as you stated in your letter, Gerrit, is not only about growing together, but for the business of farming itself to continue to grow. I would like to believe that WPALS and other similar initiatives and organizations have shifted their mindsets and terminology away from talking about white farmers and black farmers. We must move away from euphemisms, such as commercial farmers when we really want to say successful white farmers, and saying emerging farmers when we really want to say struggling black farmers. This supports the wrong view that African farmers cannot farm. A changed mindset will start talking about farmers, period, not black and white farmers. When we talk to each other as farmers, then we will start by acknowledging the indigenous knowledge systems that farmers bring. Every farmer does not have a degree Not every farmer has a degree in agricultural science from University of Stellenbosch. Everyone involved in farming did not attend the many agricultural colleges that the country has, but they possess that one vital ingredient that every profession requires: the passion, the commitment, and the dedication to farm the land. If this is lost, then no amount of training and mentoring can help the farm be returned into a successful business enterprise. We must be prepared to openly and directly speak about the challenges that face us. If water rights have been skewed to favor people that have previously been disadvantaged, and this impacts farming, then we must confront this question directly. There is a need to get an evaluation report on the farming equity schemes that were introduced, especially in this region. These schemes are considered to have favored previously advantaged farmers at the expense of the farm workers who receive a pittance as dividends. They have many problems regarding their shares in the schemes. We must confront the efficacy of these schemes head-on and be guided by such independent evaluation report. Last but not least, we must address the issue of farm evictions that is widespread in this region. The extension of Security of Tenure Act 62 of 1997, commonly known as Act Esther, gives people who live on someone else's land permission from the owner or on or after 4 February 1997, a protected legal right to continue living on that land. Esther covers people who live in rural areas, on farms and on underdeveloped land. It also protects people living on land that is encircled by a township or land within a township that is marked for agricultural purposes. You know, one of the reasons why in this problem here in Western Cape of farm evictions, it is because we do not buy land for people. It is because of bureaucracy, red tapes from within the department. Last week I had a 3-day mandate definition workshop in Pretoria, and I was instructing the department in Western Cape to go and buy farms that are advertised. Instead of trying to negotiate with farm owners, trying to get the land and talk for more than 15 years trying to buy one farm, why not buying an advertised farm for 3 million, 6 million, 8 million and buy 10 of them and give them to black people and give them to people who are evicted every day and give them a space to live? Instead of waiting for the office of the Valuer General, why wait for 18 months and negotiate with one farmer to buy a farm for 100 million instead of buying a farm for 6 million and give it to evicted people? The red tape is going to kill all of us. And you must also remember, Dingil, there was no office of Valuer General before Google and Gwindi took over. So don't refer me to OVG. I can always bypass it. I can also abolish it. What is important, we must access land. From here, I'm going to address people on the other side. I've just received a message that they are angry, they don't want me to come here. It doesn't work like that. It's you who invited me. Many farm dwellers are not aware of the fact that they have tenure rights, and the few that know their rights may not be familiar with remedies and support available to them should they be evicted. Often the breakdown of an employment relationship through dismissal or retrenchment leads to evictions of farm workers and their families. Farm owners also do not know what their rights are, and these challenges spill over into the broader community as race-based tensions that have far greater implications for the future of farming. I note the concerns you as PALS raise about the lack of capacity that exists in the Department of Land Reform to address issues of farm evictions. I encourage you to continuously and proactively engage our department so that you assist in those matters where there is lack of capacity. One such area of assistance that you can provide is to promote mediation between farm owners and farm dwellers to resolve eviction matters. This will reduce the time and effort when litigation becomes the only and final option. I am encouraged by the approach advanced by WPALS, where farm owners and farm dwellers engage each other directly and become aware of their mutual rights. I look forward to the progress you are making in Sibande, Mpumalanga, engaging in some groundbreaking programs to address the basic needs of farm workers and the joint venture that was proposed. This should be promoted as a model across the country. My door is open, and I want to hear how we can do more together in addressing farm evictions. As much as I'm encouraged by the work that WPALS is doing with the beneficiaries of land reform programs, I want to encourage you to address perceptions that continue to exist in the broader farming sector, like you have done through your open letter to NELs. One such perception, especially in this province, is that farm evictions are racially motivated. In conclusion, your efforts in building a relationship between the private sector and the Department of Land Reform and Rural Development should be on the basis of inclusivity. With an inclusive approach, we cooperate on the basis as equals in society, not one dominant possessor of all knowledge and the other as subservient, whose own knowledge and experience is undervalued and not respected. With an inclusive approach, we actively identify all those areas of social division that exist in our society, confront them head on, and find solutions that will result in the upliftment of especially those compatriots who were previously and deliberately disadvantaged. I am of the view that if these social, political, and even cultural barriers are addressed and removed, the process of skills transfer, meaningful business partnership, growth and prosperity for all will become the way that our farming practices and society generally is characterized as positive and progressive. And I thank you, Program Director.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we please give another round of applause, Honorable Minister Nyhontso. Honorable Minister, I want to acknowledge that we have indeed taken note of the valuable inputs. I think as PALS, obviously we've made notes of some of the, in particular the invitation that we, and this is what we are encouraged with, that we would like to have that open access and an open door to offer solutions in working with the department. Mhlonishwa, that has been the vision since 2014. It has never changed. And we would want to see the same words that have been said in 2015. The doors are open. We would want to see being taken into those right doors. You know, we are encouraged by the words that's not actually encouraged by red tape. That has been one of the stumbling blocks in building this ideal relationship with private sector leading and government, you know, as an enabling strategic partner to get South Africa moving forward. We really want to appreciate, Mhlonishwa, the open door that you have this morning invited PALS and its membership to take on.